All right, we're live. Welcome back to another episode of Data Mastery, Marketing for Modern Growth. Exciting episode. Let's be honest, we're gonna have a tough freaking time keeping this under 20 minutes, and we'll probably have to do a part 2, 3, and 37 down the road eventually. But we've been geeking out recently on AI lead scoring. So we provide data, we provide high intent in market data, we provide pixel data, we can enrich data. But what we're really just like, kind of just like I said, geeking out on is AI scoring. And it's all done through Chat GPT. So it's really easy to use. It's not like we have some cool, techie software or anything, but utilizing our data, utilizing our high intent data or the multiple data streams, once we're able to enrich a client's data, whether it bounced off their site, whether it's current leads, whether it's their closed clients, whatever it is, adding the 300 plus data points is super sexy. Don't get me wrong, but being able to put this within a lead scoring model that we're working feverishly on developing our SOPs and everything on, different niches. But there's so many different ways you can score a lead. I mean, Alvin just put it in our Slack channel, 10 different options, whether it's sales-based lead scoring, email lead scoring, behavior lead scoring, web page based lead scoring, social media based. I mean, there's so many different options to score leads. It's really finding the one that works best for you and giving chat the right prompts so they can take our large data sets with all the data and come up with a lead scoring method. And I don't know. I don't want to. You want to touch on this a little bit, Alvin, or jump in here? I don't want to, hog the conversation.
Yeah. So let's say here's one example, right? Like the most common one is we're able to enrich our clients' data based off home ownership, if they're homeowner, if they're married, if they have kids, their net worth, their household income, right? So we could take those 5 to 6 columns or data points and then give each column a weight. Like, hey, someone who's making over $100,000, I want to give that like 80% of weight. Someone who's married, I want that, maybe a 70% weight. And you're just telling the AI, you're kind of like predefining all the columns you want and then giving it a score. And then you just ask ChatGPT whatever questions or prompt, be like, hey, out of this data set, like who is more likely to buy? And then like, how do you want this output to be displayed? Like, hey, maybe I could just give you a scaling, a letter grade of like A through F, or maybe you want to scale it from 0 to 10, or maybe 1 through 100, or turn that into percentage. So out of, the leads that are coming in live, we could enrich that kind of data and then run it through ChatGPT via Make or Zapier, right? And then you get that output back into like a HubSpot or an ActiveCampaign or a high level. It's like, hey, these are the people, the leads that are likely to buy. And then this is where you could have your VA setters or your sales team just cherry pick on the ones that are likely to buy or close on your product or your services.
And so to take a step back so everyone understands so we would take a client would provide us all of their closed clients, what we refer to as like their champions. Here's the people that are making recurring purchases, have spent over a certain amount of money. So we enrich that data, plug it into chat and define the score that way. So we're not guessing what columns to put more weight on. The data is already telling us what columns to put more weight on based off your past purchases and your best clients. Right. We can then take a step back in the funnel and enrich the leads, the individuals that you're currently following up with, and say, hey, based off this ICP, based off this scoring method that we developed specific for a client, score their current leads. Let's scrape off the top 50 to 20% of the leads that they should be putting time, energy, and effort into. And then we can even take it a step back and start enriching the site visitor traffic that we're capturing and saying, okay, out of your site traffic, you're getting 50,000 clicks per month. We're identifying half of them. Out of those half that we're identifying, your average lead scores a 30% or 30 out of 100, which wouldn't be very good. So that means your site traffic, you need to improve the quality of the site traffic coming in. Or on the flip side, if your site traffic is getting scored at a 70 or above, well then shoot, your ads are working great, your headlines or hooks, you're meeting the right individual and driving the right quality of traffic to the website.
Yeah. The other thing too is like when we're able to track the user's web page visits. So if you have like 1,000 pages on your website and they're visiting 7 to 10 pages deep internally, like that event alone, based off the web page behavior, you could actually put more weight on that, because someone who's going 7, 10 levels deep, that's a strong signal. It's like this person's likely going to buy something real soon, right?
So even with that theory, then too, as we could have our pixel fire off multiple via multiple timers. So if the first fires at 10 seconds, but then the next fires at 30 seconds, then it fires again at 2 minutes. Well, shoot, somebody that stayed on your website for 2 minutes and looked around, that's a substantially higher intent and a higher score than, somebody that just stuck around for 10 or 15 seconds and left.
Right. So the first example that I said is like you can actually see the page URL path, meaning, hey, did they visit what products, and about us, a product review page, whatever that is. That's one way. The second way, what you're talking about, is by using a Google Tag Manager, where you're firing off a pixel based off the page duration of this user. So someone who's been on the page for X number of seconds or minutes, you could fire off an event page tag like off that and score those. And then the third way would be, let's say you have a VSL page that's 3 minutes long, and you could fire off a tag every 15 to 30 seconds or a minute. And every time that tag fires off, you could put weight on that and do lead scoring on it.
And then what's so badass is with the enriched data, you have a combination of, okay, this person stayed on my site X amount of time, visited these pages, and has this amount of income, and is a homeowner, and has kids in the household. So now it can take, like you mentioned in the beginning, like 5 to 10 of these key data points, and every client has a different ICP, or will have different key data points, and that's what we show them up front with the enrichment and with the initial analyzing, is what are your key data points? What really defines your ICP, your ideal client profile? So what do we need to go look for? What data points, or what data points can we provide to get the most accurate score and make it a predictive model? So now, I mean, hell, let's take it a step further. So now we define your ICP. We know exactly what they look like. We know how long they sit on the site. We know what products they visit. We know what their income and everything else. Now you could take it a step further and start asking Chat GPT different questions. So like, what platforms are my clients likely to be visiting? Is it Facebook? Is it TikTok? Is it programmatic? Is it YouTube ads? And then you could take it even a step further and have it start writing you ads and copies. And now that Chat actually links with Canva and can develop images, it's like you could literally take your current database, define your ICP, enrich and analyze and score your leads, your site traffic, and then even go in and further and have it start developing your ads for you. Write me 10 different hooks and headlines to test. Write me ad copy. Write me email copies. Give me graphics that would be engaging to my client. I mean, it's like I said, we're going to have tough time keeping this at 20 minutes or less, because there's literally so much we can do for it. And I mean, we're farther down the road than most doing this, because I mean, obviously this is what we're doing all day, every day, but it's literally just the tip of the iceberg. And then, the more data you're feeding into Chat, the better it gets, right? So the more, then you start taking winning ads and offers, and it's like, hey, here's the best hooks and headlines that we're getting the most conversions from. We're getting the most conversions from these type of ads. What can you tell this about? What can this tell you? What can it tell us about our ICP? Or how do we develop more hooks and headlines and offers, targeting those individuals, or to be able to reach more of those individuals?
Yeah, I mean, like one advanced thing that you could probably do is like, imagine if you're pulling in UTM parameters from your paid traffic, and you're able to see some valuable piece of data that's coming in. Well, what UTM do they convert off? So you could take some of that metadata, or the UTM strings or the values from that, and then put that into the lead scoring as well. So we're taking a bunch of different models of lead scoring, and you can just combine them all to one to get like a predictive lead score. Like, hey, so anyone who's like, here's another example. Like, all right, let's say the output is like these sets of 30 people, they're all 70 out of 100, right? Another thing that you could ask GPT is like, well, how can I see a lift? What can I do to get them to an 80 or 90 out of 100? I'm looking for suggestions like positive behavior. What can I do to get to see a lift?
Expand on that more, because I'm actually a little bit like, what do you mean by
Like
what more? Like,
like
where else
let's
can
say,
we advertise them, or how, what else, what other information can we give them?
yeah, so let's say these are the hooks that I'm using, and let's say I find out like, all right, these are the leads that are coming in, these are the hooks that brought them in. This is the hook. How can I make a better hook or a headline to turn that into an 80 or 90%? I want to be predictive, where I want to find more people that will come in or get scored at an 80 or 90 with a better hook or headline.
Or I guess even thinking about this, like with our pixel, where we're identifying the site traffic, and then it's, even asking or even getting ideas like how to best reach. So I guess maybe we're trying to say the same thing here, but when you're saying what more, I'm thinking like,
Mhm.
okay, what are the best ads or best hooks and headlines to retarget these
You
individuals
can.
with?
Yep.
What's going to get them off the fence? They saw an ad that caught their attention. They were interested in our product or services, whether it's e-com or high ticket coaching, whatever it is, they're interested in our product or services. They visited our page, they meet our ICP, or for the most part, they have a above average score based off our ICP score. Now, what else can we show them? Maybe we need to build trust. Maybe they're a little skeptical of buying online, and they need some more information, where we can feed them testimonials. They want to, kind of like, what else can we show them based off what we know about them now, based off their intent in our product? What else can we show them to get them off the fence and, build their trust and, get their business, so to speak?
Yep. Another one last thing from me, but this idea just popped up where if we are doing cold email targeting off these visitors, and if we're able to identify that landing page view to a dedicated email page, and then we see that event, like that means like, hey, we see a history of web events or page events that they're landing on multiple, they're pretty much seeing our ads through an omni-channel type of strategy, right? So Facebook, Google, TikTok, YouTube, programmatic, all that other stuff. If we're able to track all those different page events, like that's really cool to see, and then score that stuff.
Yeah. So how, so if somebody was listening to this, how would you best advise that we could implement, or how could somebody implement this with, even just the data that they own? Let's just say, assume that they're not using our enrichment services, but they have, name, email address, phone number, and any other information they've gotten, through their e-com brand, or, through just the lead ad forms. I mean, is that something that could somebody start using this without our services?
Maybe, I'm not sure, maybe using Google Analytics G4, but then again, it's like there's going to be a lot of limitations. If again, Google and Facebook, they have a lot of black
Oh yeah,
box
that's right.
data,
Because yeah,
you can't see anything.
it's all black
Yeah,
box. If you can't, I mean, because just based a name, email address, phone number, and even a physical address if you're shipping them something, right? So I mean, you could get some ideas based off like, what states, and then, or what states or what areas, and then maybe they could, chat could tell you a little bit more about that specific state or area, and then
right.
you could, kind of develop that way. But I guess that's a good point. Having those additional, data points is really key. Knowing occupation, kids in household, seniors in household, income. Do they have certain types of credit cards? What is their, affinities and preferences, and that type of stuff is really how you go. Because I mean, I don't want to say we laugh at it, but sometimes it's like some of these clients will come to us and it's like, oh, well, who's your ICP? And it's like, oh, well, people, males over 35 that make over 100,000 a year. And it's like, that just described, probably 15 to 20% of the population. That's not really an ICP, and you can't really target based off that. But let's go a little bit deeper. Are they homeowners? Do they have affinities towards outdoor products? I noticed too, since we've been testing this, because a piece of our data talks about like political affiliation and where they've donated and that type of stuff. So if you're talking to somebody on the left versus the right, obviously, I'm not trying to get political, but it's a whole different demographic. And the way you talk to those individuals. I mean, this wasn't our particular client, but I I heard a story of or maybe we did a discovery call with the solar company, but he was saying that they crushed it because they literally targeted strictly off political affiliation. So if you were more Democratic, it was like, hey, go green, save the planet. And if you were more Republican, it was like unplug from the grid and, live on your own, that type of messaging. And they crushed it with solar. Complete same exact product, just different messaging based off political affiliation.
Yeah. And then again, you could ask ChatGPT, it's like, hey, I'm already targeting luxury homeowners and home improvement as my Facebook interest targeting. And then you after you score it and then you want to do some predictive modeling, like what other Facebook ad interest targeting should I be targeting to find my ICP? And it actually does give you some other interests to target, which is it was cool to see that too.
I mean, think about even like how chat helped us, with like YouTube targeting. We're running ads on YouTube. So it's like, hey, and this is outside of even lead scoring, but even just use, ideas to use Chat GPT or, any other AI software that you're using. But it's like, hey, give me the top 10 marketing and business influencers that have highly popular YouTube channels. So now we can go run our ads specific on, Neil Patel's, and even like an Ed Milet type of podcast where we know, is every single person on there higher level entrepreneur spending $25,000 to $50,000 a month like we're looking for? No, but a large percentage of them probably are. And and if you run your ads correctly and you're calling out your correct avatar on the ads, then you're meeting the right demographic versus just taking on that or the right client profile, I should say, versus just taking on that spray and pray approach. It's all about quality over quantity nowadays. But on the flip side, the ad platforms want you to go after quantity versus quality because that's how they make all their money. It's give us as much money as you can. We'll give you the minimum amount of results that we can give you to keep you happy and still giving us money. But, we're still going to limit your targeting, your audiences, your, Jesus, they limit everything nowadays. It's going to pretty soon they're going to want to tell you exactly like, let us just do your creatives and let us do your hooks and headlines and everything for you and just trust us. I have a feeling that's where it's kind of going down the road. But I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah. So just to end this call, or this podcast,
you're on so many calls a day nowadays. You don't know. You're like, am I on Zoom or what the hell's going on here?
One thing is we're going to have a blueprint for each kind of like vertical, like whether there's a lead gen, an e-com, a high ticket coach, and a B2B, and even from an email side, from what we're planning is we're going to have a blueprint of lead scoring type of prompts for the top 10, 20 different lead scoring models. And that's something we'll like to share, in future podcasts. Like, hey, we got this type of lead scoring we did for lead gen. Well, let's say it's an HVAC company, and these are the prompts or the type of questions we were analyzing with the client's data and and their site traffic. So that's something that we could talk about in the future.
Yeah, actually, that's a kick-ass idea for a future podcast or future episode here, where we can literally upload a data set. Obviously make sure no PII or anything's disclosed and it's all hidden, but then just kind of go through the prompts and show some, show the viewers basically, hey, here's what we're doing, here's the prompts we're using, here's how we're going through and scoring the clients. We can definitely do a screen sharing kind of real life walkthrough here in the near future. That's a great idea.
Yep.
Awesome. All kinds of fun stuff coming down the pipeline. We're trying to, as we discover stuff, we're trying to push it out to you guys so we can all, learn together, grow together, and, really maximize the data and stop, letting the platforms have all the fun with the data, right? Zuckerberg and Google and everybody else. It's like, they get to see all the data. They get to see your hard-earned data, really, because you're the one paying to generate the data, and then they keep it, unless you're utilizing a service like ours where you're utilizing pixels and intent audiences and things like that. So that's really the goal. Our goal is to put the power of data back into the business's hands and take it away from the platforms. Anything else, my friend?
No.
Smiled more on this episode, so that was good. All right, we're hitting our 20-minute mark. We want to keep it short and sweet for you guys and as impactful as possible. We'll be back again in another couple of days with some exciting stuff. So please subscribe, and can't wait to see everybody again soon.
See ya.